Just sign the divorce papers, she said coldly. I'm with my real partner now. I stayed quiet and walked away. A year later, she stood before me, begging. His fun personality didn't pay the bills. I was wrong. The shock on her face was priceless when I simply laughed. Man, where do I even begin? My wife and I got married last August. It feels like a lifetime ago. But it's barely been a year. Our relationship was the real deal. One of those epic, international love stories. We spent 2.5 years navigating a mountain of bullshit to be together. I'm talking visa paperwork that could fill a library. Time zone differences that had me up at 3 a.m. just to hear her voice. And awkward family introductions over glitchy video calls. She even took my last name. We fought for this. Hard. And it was worth it. Until a few months ago, I was sure she was my person. She'd leave these little voicemails calling me my husband. My everything. It sounds cheesy. But when you're thousands of miles apart, that stuff is your lifeline. She would text my buddies out of the blue just to tell them how lucky she was to have me. She was the one pushing for us to close the distance. Begging me to move to her country. I was all in. I passed the language exam. Put in my 2 weeks at a job I'd been at for years. And had browser tabs open with apartment listings near her place. My application for the family visa was already submitted. I was building a future. Our future. Then, in March, my world caught fire. I was away at a work camp. Totally disconnected. And when I got back online, I walked into a digital ambush. A bunch of anonymous accounts started a smear campaign, accusing me of running some racist social media profile. It was a complete fabrication. But it didn't matter. They posted my name, my face, my job. The threats started pouring in. Horrific stuff. Not just aimed at me, but at my family. My parents' address got leaked. People were threatening my little brothers. My mom, bless her heart, ended up with a blood pressure crisis, and I could hear her crying through the door every night. The stress literally made my dad lose some of his vision. I just broke. I nuked all my social media. I started seeing a therapist and got put on the maximum global dosage of antidepressants. 200 milligrams a day. Just to feel something other than pure terror. And through all of this, I never told my wife a single word. It sounds crazy. I know. But my immediate gut reaction was to protect her. She was in her country. Safe. And I couldn't stand the thought of dragging her into this cesspool of hate. I imagined her waking up to see my face plastered online next to these lies, getting threats in a language she barely understood. I couldn't do it. So I made a choice. I begged my family and friends not to say anything. I decided I would carry this alone. I thought I was being strong. A shield. But what I was actually doing was building a wall. On the outside, I was just gone. Numb. Or, as she would later put it, dry. The medication flattened me out. And the trauma made it impossible to pretend everything was okay. I was still me, but all the color had drained out. And I had no idea she was about to walk right into the middle of the wreckage. Has anyone else ever tried to protect a partner by hiding a huge personal crisis? I genuinely thought I was doing the right thing. But now I'm wondering if that was the mistake that cost me everything. When she came to visit me in my country this June, I was still deep in that dark hole. I tried. Man. I really did. I took time off work. We went to our favorite restaurants. We did all the things we used to love. But I know I wasn't the same. I couldn't muster up the big, easy smiles she was used to. My mind was always somewhere else. Replaying threats. Worrying about my family. She'd say something, and I'd be a second too slow to respond. She pointed it out once. Gently. You don't seem happy to see me. The words were like a punch to the gut. Because inside, I was screaming with joy that she was there. She was my rock. The one good thing in a world that had turned into a nightmare. I just couldn't make my face show it. Still, we had good moments. She told me she loved me. We slept in the same bed. And when I dropped her off at the airport, she broke down, crying in my arms, telling me she couldn't wait until I moved. I held her and thought, see, we're okay. Our love is strong enough to get through this. 2 weeks later, the silence started. The daily good morning text stopped. My messages would sit undelivered for hours. Sometimes a whole day. When she did reply, it was with one-word answers. My gut was screaming that something was wrong. Finally, after I pushed, she sent the text. A wall of it. The line that stopped my heart was, "My feelings disappeared in May. Even seeing you in person didn't bring them back." My brain short-circuited. May? How the hell was that possible? She was just here. She cried in my arms at the airport in June. Who cries like that for someone they supposedly stopped loving a month earlier? The timeline made zero sense. I was operating under the assumption that my distance had hurt her. And this was her way of showing me how much. I thought if I could just explain, we could fix it. So began weeks of long, agonizing text exchanges. I was writing essays, trying to make her understand what I'd been going through without actually telling her the details. She just kept repeating the same lines. "We have different values. You're too dry. And the worst one. Please let me go." I told her. "You can file for divorce if you want to. But I don't want this." I thought I was fighting for us. Then, during one of those arguments, she dropped the first bomb. She told me she had kissed someone. She said it was sudden and she didn't know how it happened. My mind reeled. A sudden kiss. With who? When? It felt like she was testing the waters, feeding me the story in small, digestible chunks to see what I would do. 2 weeks after that, she dropped the nuke. "I have a new boyfriend." The text read. "He's my official boyfriend now. He's met almost all of my friends. And they all love him. I've met his mom and his sister." And that's when it all clicked into place with horrifying clarity. This wasn't a sudden breakdown of our marriage. This was a calculated transition. The weeks of texts weren't a negotiation. They were a distraction. She was keeping me busy on the phone while she was auditioning my replacement. The woman who cried in my arms at the airport was already gone. I just hadn't realized it. My question for you guys is this. How do you deal with this kind of deception? I was trying to solve a puzzle. But she'd already thrown the box away and bought a new one. Was I a total idiot for believing her tears at the airport? The picture she paints of this new guy is almost comically perfect. He's everything I wasn't over the past few months. He's fun. He's emotionally expressive. He screams on the subway just to make her laugh. Her friends, the same ones who used to tell me how great I was for her, apparently adore him. She told me, with what felt like a hint of pride, that she's already met his mom and sister. And then she used that one word. The one she had used to describe my brokenness. She said he's never dry. I read that text and it felt like my lungs had been emptied of air. It wasn't just her telling me she'd moved on. It was a targeted, point-by-point breakdown of all my perceived failures. Each happy detail about him was a ghost of a criticism against me. And the reasons for our marriage ending. They've become a joke. The main narrative of my emotional distance has been conveniently supplemented with new, trivial complaints. She brought up political tweets I'd retweeted months ago that she didn't like. She now claims our fundamental values don't align. My brain just can't process the logic. This is the woman who I went through an international immigration process with. The woman who took my last name. And now our entire shared life, all that work and all that love, is being thrown away because of a disagreement over a retweet. I see it clearly now. These aren't the real reasons. They're flimsy excuses she's building retroactively to justify an unjustifiable act. The real reason is that she found someone new. Someone shiny and easy who didn't come with the baggage of trauma. The worst part is the feeling of being completely erased. Our 2.5 years. Our marriage. It's like it was a beta test for the real thing she has now. I was just the placeholder. And the final twist of the knife. She's the one who insists she wants a divorce. But she still hasn't started any legal process. I'm just left here in this horrible limbo. Technically married to a woman who is publicly in a loving relationship with another man. She's already living her happy ending. And I'm just a piece of administrative paperwork she hasn't gotten around to yet. I gave this woman everything. I was ready to leave my country, my job, my family for her. And now I'm a footnote in a story that's moved on without me. So, I'm turning to you guys. Has anyone ever experienced a betrayal that moves this fast? How do you even begin to process not just being left, but being so thoroughly and immediately replaced? How do you let go of someone when you have concrete proof? Texts, tears, memories from just a few months ago. That the love was real. It feels like I'm grieving a person who is still alive. And it's tearing me apart.